Breaking tonight, Republican Senator John McCain's office says the senator and former candidate for president is resting comfortably tonight after undergoing surgery to remove a blood clot from above his left eye. The operation, we're told, was a success, and the senator will be back to work soon. But the big question tonight: what effect will this have on the Senate health care bill? Keep it on Fox News Channel for the latest developments. And meantime, the liberal feeding frenzy continues with nonstop attacks on the Trump administration over the Russian controversy. My next guest is a prominent Harvard law professor and liberal author who is also a Hillary Clinton supporter. And he says he doesn't see any crime at this point in Donald Trump Jr.'s behavior. Alan Dershowitz joins me now by Skype. Good evening, Professor.
Good evening. I mean, I'm shocked as a civil libertarian and a criminal lawyer and a liberal in how liberals are, some of them at least, prepared to stretch existing laws, talk about treason, talk about other kinds of crimes that just don't exist when it comes to the facts as we know them about this meeting. And so I'm going to keep insisting that we stop accusing people of crime when there's just no evidence of crime.
Well, let me be a little more specific. Under the campaign finance laws, I mean, there is a claim that if you get something of value, and they're alleging that information of value from a foreign national could be, stretched out to mean, words. Is that something that's ever been prosecuted?
Of course not. And if it were to be prosecuted, the First Amendment would trump. A candidate has the right to get information from whatever source the information comes. It's very much like the New York Times publishing the Pentagon Papers case, or the Washington Post publishing material stolen by Snowden and Manning. You don't prosecute the newspaper. They have a First Amendment right. And you don't prosecute the candidate or the candidate's son. They have a First Amendment right to get the material. If the material was obtained unlawfully, you prosecute, if you can, the people who obtain the material. But there is a First Amendment right of a candidate to use information. And so you can't include information under the campaign finance law. That would be unconstitutional.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But I mean, there's some smart people out there are alleging it. But at this point, I don't believe any of it. But let's talk about treason. How can they even use the word treason? I mean, you've got Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them. Nancy Pelosi, I believe, has said, after these latest revelations, it's clear we've suffered a desecration of our democracy and collusion has been proven. By the way, what is collusion?
Collusion is not a crime unless it's commit a criminal act. But the treason thing really upsets me because it so flies in the face of history. When we wrote our Constitution, the British were using treason very broadly against their kings. And so the framers of our Constitution wrote the most specific provision of treason ever put into a Constitution. Treason shall consist only of basically waging war against the United States, coming armed against the United States. It is inconceivable that anybody who has any knowledge of the Constitution or of American history would argue that a private citizen, by securing information for a campaign from somebody who may be a surrogate of the government, has committed treason. It's just so ahistorical and so contrary to what the law is that we ought to stop talking about it, because we're miseducating American people. We're miseducating young people. People come over to me and say, is it really treason? And I tell them, go back and read the Constitution. Look, the good thing is young people really are looking at the Constitution these days. A kid came over to me recently and asked me about the emoluments clause. She had thought emoluments were a kind of facial cream, and now we talk about emoluments. So now we're talking about treason. So we're going to learn a lesson. But I think it's so dangerous to democracy to throw around these criminal law terms and to just accuse people willy-nilly. It was just as bad when they did it, in my view, to Hillary Clinton, when they yelled, lock her up, and try to expand the espionage laws to cover her conduct. I'm an equal opportunity critic of both sides of the aisle when they try to criminalize political differences.
And because we need to go, I want to tell everyone there is no doubt that you are an equal opportunity critic. And tell us the name of your upcoming book that you're writing.
Well, it's called Trumped Up, and it's about the politicization, the criminalization of politics, and how dangerous it is to democracy. It will not only be about Trump, though. It will be about Congressman DeLay, about various other
all of them.
Charged, and Stanley what's his name?
Sheldon
the guy
Silver.
who was Silver yesterday.
Okay.
The Second Circuit ruled in a
Thank
way
you.
that makes it clear that this can't be a crime.
All
The
right,
Second
Professor Alan Dershowitz, we got to go. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right. And Colonel David Hunt is still ahead. But next, the resistance and its Russia obsession. Amy Holmes and Chris Hom standing by to debate, as well as some of the real issues of making news out of Washington this week. I'm here at the Museum of the Bible, about to go in, and if you can't tell from what I'm wearing, we're at the hard hat stage. But going forward, this place is going to open in November. You're not going to believe what you're about to see.